And I beheld another beast coming up out of the sand, and it had two horns like a lamb, but its mouth was fanged and fire. Back to Dune Saga, everyone. This is season 3 of our Dune campaign here on the Stolen Fires channel. I am Eric at Maron Recluse Online, or just Recluse Online, your game master for this epic multi-arc adventure series, which continues tonight with our 5th storyline, Leviathan. A very special welcome and salutation to new and old viewers alike to the Stolen Fires channel here on Twitch. In addition to our Dune story this season, you can expect a Dragon Age RPG live play to look forward to. Check the Stolen Fires Discord listings for updates. As a content warning, this program does feature adult situations and language, and it may not be suitable for all ages, so listener discretion is advised. Special music shoutouts go to Infraction, Repulsive Sound, The Whole Other, Tabletop Audio, and Blear Moon for the use of their excellent music. You can find more such awesome ambient sounds and tunes over at bandcamp.com, YouTube, freesound.org, and SoundCloud. Many thanks to Modifius Entertainment for making awesome games for us to play, like Dune, Adventures of the Imperium. We also want to thank Roll20 for the use of their virtual tabletop platform, perfect for games like Dune, Adventures in the Imperium. And as always, we want to give big thanks to our viewers and fans for tuning in. Our house entourage is here and ready to engage in the deadliest of intrigues. Agents of the Imperium, remind our audience who you are, where they can find you online, and who you will be playing this evening. Beginning with Leo.
Hello! My name is Jared. It's been a while, guys. I'm really happy to see you, especially with this game. I love this game. So I'm sorry if I'm stumbling over my words a bit. It's, like I said, it's been a little bit. But anyways, my name is Leo. You can find me at Leo of the Black on Twitch, where I do my Twitch streaming thing at Leo of the Black. Right now, we're in the middle of playing Halo. But yeah, I will be playing Archibald for you today.
Excellent. Aaron.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to join this wonderful cast of amazing beings. I'm Aaron. As Eric said, my pronouns are anything except he, him. You can find me on the Bird app and Twitch and several other places as Great Cthulhu. Tonight, I'll be playing Eloise Cheshire, the black sheep of House Cheshire, who left and joined the guild.
Devin.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. I am Devin, found online at Sort of Sullied, and tonight you find me as Reverend Mother Norma, matchmaker extraordinaire, and totally not keeping secrets about bad technocratic stuff that I've been doing with Pardo. Hi, son.
Pardo.
So Ambrose.
Chills.
Hey everybody, I'm Ambrose. My pronouns are he or they. You can find me all over the internet as Amchangeling or as Thornkind. You can find my Etsy at Thornkind. Tonight I'll be playing Zoshir Tamer, whose pronouns are he, him.
Key?
Hello, I am Key-sama. You can find me on Twitter at TrueKey-sama. And tonight I am Pardo Reed, Marshal of House Cheshire.
Excellent. And of course, Rachel.
They're saying you're muted, Rachel.
Rachel, the silent.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Gremlins.
Found OBS isn't.
That background story sounds pretty intense over there.
Sorry about that. It should be working now.
Yay!
Yay! Anyway, I was just saying about how I was so excited to be able to bring this back onto my channel because it's an amazing game. It deserves to be told. Hooray! And I play Duchess Daphne Cheshire, who got what she thought she wanted, but not in the way she wanted to receive it.
So true. Oh, so yes, there's actually quite a bit of history concerning this game. The last 2 seasons, to be perfectly precise. And yes, there is a recap that we would like to go over briefly, so everybody can get kind of caught up as to what the drama has been like up to this point. Ambrose, would you be so kind?
Gladly. House Cheshire used to be a major house, with full control over the planet Jabberwock and the moons Snicker and Snack. The house's longtime ally was House Carol until Carol was caught stealing ornithopter designs. This launched a war of vendetta, lupine vendetta, culminating in the death of Duke Federico and Lady Beatrice Cheshire. The Duke's own brother Archibald was implicated and imprisoned for the crime. House Drunenbar was raised to major, while House Cheshire declined to minor. Thus was how Lady Adelaide inherited the house. Her first heir was Alicia, but Alicia has long been presumed dead, killed while on an espionage mission. For now, the story opens on Wallach Ix, the Bene Gesserit home base. Norma prepares for the agony, the ritual which will make her a Reverend Mother. If she survives, it's painful and difficult, but survive she does. Afterward, the Mother Superior introduces Norma to another Bene Gesserit named Tia. Wallach is no longer safe from Masum, the secret son of the Emperor. Norma and Tia must take him to House Cheshire, where he'll be safe. Meanwhile, Daphne and Lysander attend a fancy party when Daphne is approached by a Suk doctor naming himself Sloane, formerly of Carol. He accuses Carol of heresy and swears Alicia is alive. He also has more information on Federico's death and promises to reveal it in exchange for protection. Daphne swears it, and the group flees under fire to the ornithopter. During that time, Pardo has a very disturbing dream about being on Tlilax, and something about revenge against Cheshire. He wakes up, his last memory being of a meeting on Gemont. As he struggles with this, Davos works on Arrakis to ensure Fremen allies on arrival. It's around this time that someone breaks into Archibald's prison cell and steals from his mind the location of the House Atomics, and the revelation that Archibald is innocent of fratricide. Back on Jabberwock, Pardo and Gwillian bicker, each accusing the other of treason and heresy. Without more proof than either has, Daphne refuses to pass judgment. The house has bigger problems anyway. The workers on Snicker have gone on strike and will only meet with Daphne or Adelaide. It stinks of a trap. Why wasn't the Looking Glass, our house secret police, able to stop this before it started? There's one more option. The striking workers are veterans loyal to Archibald Cheshire. The stakes are high enough that he might be paroled. Daphne consults with Dr. Sloane, who insists House Carol has made extensive use of Ixian thinking machines. They have kept Alicia on the moon Niush as a prisoner. Adelaide is instructing Pardo, Lysander, and Omelas to deal with the situation on Snicker when she receives a message. Pardo Reed is at the gates. Well, it seems one of these Pardos is a spy. Masum resolves the question. Only the true Pardo knows what was given the last time they spoke. The false Pardo kills himself. These are mysteries for another time. It's time to visit the garden. Archibald receives his visitors in the courtyard. Daphne greets him formally and carefully offers him a parole. He insists on his innocence, but Daphne needs more than just his word. But before anything else can happen, men in olive drab emerge from the hedges and attack, going straight for Archibald. Cheshire fights their way back to the ornithopters through a spore attack and weapon fire. Daphne takes custody of Archibald, and we quickly flee the planet. On the ship, Davos makes it known to Daphne he's ready, willing, and able to space anyone who threatens her. He means Archibald. Daphne thanks him for the thought, but kin killing is a grave sin. Once on Jabberwock, the only people happy to see Archibald are the House Shadowcats, who greeted him with remembered affection. After an awkward dinner, it's time to talk business. In the middle of explaining the situation on Snicker, Duchess Adelaide is called away to view footage of the sabotage. Strangely, the Shadowcats here are hostile to Archibald. Could a face dancer have killed Federico and Beatrice and framed Archibald? During dinner, Masum says he can smell burning, though nothing's on fire. He also mentions dreams of his mother, where sometimes she's dead and sometimes she's not. He also has dreams of Daphne and his mother dying. His first intuition proves prophetic, as fire alarms sound in the middle of the night. An assassin's body is found in the smoky kitchens, bearing a House Carol dagger. It's all too suspicious. There are two traitors among us, trying to turn the Cold War between Cheshire and Carol hot. Several days later, Pardo, Norma, and Archibald meet with the White Rabbits, the rebels on Snicker. The fighting is fierce and clearly well-financed. The three are brought to meet with Ronas and Warakeen, a brother and sister pair leading the rebels. They invite Archibald to lead the insurgency in their place. But still loyal to his house, he declines. However, he's still here to resolve the issues. The Keens demand a share of each ornithopter sold go to the workers, improved living conditions on Snicker, and the abolition of the looking glass. And they have the atomics to ensure another ornithopter is never built on Snicker. Pardo quickly promises destruction of the looking glass and that Tiberius will be brought up on charges for his abuse of power. Wait, who's Tiberius? Don't worry about it. Archibald also puts up his own personal fortune to ensure improved conditions on Snicker, impressing the rebels. He also promises the residents of the Moon Council representation. This satisfies them, and they make it known that House Carol handed them the Cheshire atomics. Meanwhile, a CHOAM representative arrives on Jabberwock to ensure the house finances are healthy enough to justify a move to Arrakis. As does a messenger from House Carol offering to exchange Sloane for Alicia. That would, however, mean Sloane's death. Daphne will not break her word to him. Meanwhile, Tia deftly fends off an attempt by rogue Bene Gesserit to kidnap Masum. Fortunately, Masum and Norma's ward, Belanda, make it to the panic room, and a strategic application of gas and violence solves the issue. When it's all over, Gwillian shares some crystals he's found. Someone has been communicating with machines. After the fight, Tia receives a coded message. Jabberwock is no longer safe for Masum. The Tleilaxu may have infiltrated the Sisterhood. In a meeting a bit later, Daphne affirms the terms negotiated on Snicker. Furthermore, Lady Adelaide plans to visit House Drunanbar. Pardo is tasked with deciphering the crystals. Using deductive reasoning, Daphne concludes that the house's true enemy is not Carol, but of Cardis. But why? Either way, Daphne now favors making peace with House Carroll. There's something about a dead child named Haifa. It seems Afcardis was even behind Federico's death. But why would the Tleilaxu be involved? And Daphne's promise to protect Sloane still stands. A few weeks pass. Norma and Tia meet with Gaius Helen Mahayam. I forgot how to pronounce that. Explaining the situation. Helen will see what she can do. Daphne has asked Gwillian to stand in for Sloane. The looking glass is dismantled, with the Department of Health and Safety taking its place. Adelaide and Archibald visit Drunenbar, a successful trip which ends in the engagement of Lady Adelaide and Viscount Federos Drunenbar. The prisoner exchange goes less well. Lord Carroll orders Sloane's immediate execution, revealing the face dancer, Duplicity. There's another firefight, which Daphne only stops by insisting she's protecting the Carrolls. They stop fighting long enough to listen to her, but insist there will be no peace between the houses without Sloane. Alicia awkwardly reunites with her family, though she doesn't recognize Daphne. Later that night, Pardo wakes in Alicia's room, standing over her with a knife. Alicia fights him off, and Pardo can't explain what he was doing there. He's been corrupted. The Mentat is immediately taken into custody. Returning home, Pardo is put in the Gale. Dr. Sloane examines Alicia and sees part of her brain has atrophied, as in someone with amnesia. That could explain why she has no memories of Daphne. Daphne questions Pardo and concludes he didn't deliberately try to kill Alicia, but he's become someone's tool, and until we know who, it's not safe for him to be free. Pardo reveals one important fact. He did not kill Alicia because he saw his mother's face, the mother he loved. And love can break any conditioning. But Tia asks, does Pardo love himself, or can he allow the house to love him? Meanwhile, Davos meets with Tia and tells of what he learned of Fremen religion and their belief in something called a Mahdi. Something Masum could be. Tia is reluctant at this. It'd be too risky. After the interrogation, Daphne meets with Adelaide and Alicia. Adelaide shows them a box emblazoned with the Iasi emblem, our shared legacy entwined with another ancient house, Plana. It's time to reclaim our legacy. Fortunately, there's a wedding for House Ikaz, which will allow us to do just that. Before everyone leaves, Gwillian visits Pardo. He's had visions, and Pardo needs his freedom to prevent them. Gwillian releases Pardo if he promises to protect Daphne, Alicia, and Masum. The wedding is lovely, and Daphne makes the acquaintance of one Duke Leto Atreides. Lysander's on edge. He lost his honor when Archduke Armand Ikaz lost his arm. The wedding is disrupted when the last member of House Maritani, Swordmaster Mentat, arrives and demands a Conley duel. But the Archduke only has one arm. Such a duel means his death. There's only one solution. Lysander offers himself as champion. The duel is quick and bloody. Lysander prevails, but the Swordmaster had poisoned the wrong weapon, and now he's dying. Duke Leto lends us his personal doctor, Wellington Yue. He stabilizes the man, but we must retrieve the antidote from the ruins of House Plana. Adelaide doesn't want Daphne to endanger herself, but Daphne insists that loyalty goes both ways, and she owes this to Lysander. It's a spooky ruin full of thinking machines. Davos strikes a 30 ornithopter deal with Duke Atreides while they wait for the rest of the entourage to surface. Beneath the surface, after fighting some strange machines, Daphne manages to open the door using her own DNA. Norma accesses her genetic memories to discover the password. As they hurriedly search for Lysander's antidote, Pardo has a conversation with the machine. The machine will give them what they seek if it takes Pardo with him. Pardo agrees. The entourage returns to Ikaz just in time to save Lysander, though he'll still need time to recover. And House Ikaz has won their conley, thanks to House Cheshire. Impressed, Duke Leto promises Cheshire and Atreides are allies. The party continues. Soldier number 7 seems to have made himself Lady Daphne's personal protector in Lysander's absence. This earns him some attention from Mock Turtle, who flirts with him, and Norma. Halfway through dinner, Soldier number 7's vision begins to blur. He's been poisoned. Pardo, for that's who Soldier number 7 is, rushes out of the room. Norma and Dr. Yue follow. Norma, satisfied, hands him the antidote. Before they leave, however, Dr. Yue has some important questions for Norma about his wife Joanna, a Harkonnen prisoner. Norma is fairly certain Joanna is dead, and something happens to Yue. He seems to believe her. When he's gone, Norma and Pardo fight over what Norma saw in the Plana ruins. Pardo is forced to reveal the chip he has. Back on Jabberwock, the house must discuss Pardo, though by most to still be a prisoner. Some way must be found to break his conditioning. We also need to file a bill of particulars against Ofcardis with the Sicil Rod. We'll definitely need Drunenbar's aid. Oh, that's why Adelaide proposed marriage to Federos. He's accepted, but wants one of Adelaide's children to become his heir. He doesn't want to be the last of his line. And there's something they must do for him. Someone has been peeling off his military assets, and one of his commandants, Yeva Schumann, has gone rogue. Restore that, and the wedding is on. The rogue agent is still somewhere on Jabberwock, while Federos and Adelaide negotiate their marital contract. Daphne and Archibald look for the equipment. It's probably at one of the poles. As scouts are sent out, Archibald seeks out Alicia. They have a discussion about family, and Archibald reveals his plan to found his own house. He invites Alicia to join him, but she doesn't answer. Daphne's attempt to connect with Alicia ends awkwardly, but she reveals Masum is their brother. Meanwhile, Norma and Pardo unlock the chip. Pardo hopes to somehow regain his mother by the chip, which infuriates Norma. But the project continues. However, Pardo makes a mistake when he shares his memory of his mother's death and gives the nascent AI an existential crisis. But the AI has much to share. As difficult as this is, Pardo has one bright spot in his blossoming relationship with Mock Turtle. Norma brings this information to Adelaide and insists we're going to need to reprogram him somehow. Gwillian identifies one of Pardo's memories as Alwyn, the master he betrayed in favor of House Cheshire. Daphne's furious. Norma and Gwillian have forced her to choose between allowing a threat to the house to continue or commit heresy. She chooses heresy but insists on being there. Meanwhile, Alicia offers to open diplomatic channels between Archibald and Yeva. The negotiations are successful to the point of Archibald and Yeva agreeing to marry. It's time to interrogate Pardo Reed. But as Daphne comes to understand the depths of what he was forced to do, Upstairs, Alicia confronts her mother and stabs her. Just as the power goes out, alarm sound and atomic fire blooms on the horizon. Adelaide sounds a personal alarm, screaming for Daphne. Archibald takes over the strategic approach. Daphne arrives just in time for her mother to die in her arms. Alicia says she wants Daphne to have the house, but Daphne screams that she never wanted to inherit power like this. She's gone, says Dr. Sloan. That, it turns out, is Pardo's code phrase. His conditioning activates and he murders a surprised Gwillian. He has the urge to murder everyone else in the room, but resists by drawing on memories of his mother. But it's time to say goodbye to even her memory. Daphne doesn't have time to grieve. The atomic fire was House Carroll, prepared to destroy themselves if they can take Off-Guardus with them. Daphne orders the Cheshire fighters to support Drunenbar, but otherwise not interfere. Davos and Archibald acquit themselves well, but Count Fideros dies in the attack. Daphne receives a heartfelt final letter from her mother. Norma is made the Mother Superior's right hand to protect Mosum. Far away on Tlilax, face dancers looking like Gwillian rebel. It's time to journey to Arrakis. Daphne's first encounter with the Harkonnens is at a dinner party. Daphne saves her dinner companion, Nuri Randama, from Rabin's brutal assassination attempt involving vipers. Welcome to Dune.
Excellent. Thank you for reading that, Ambrose, and thank you as always, Rachel, for writing those excellent recaps. Now, before we dive into the meat and potatoes of things, we have to acknowledge that House Cheshire is now a major house, and that means that we should probably flesh out a few things. For starters, you now have another secondary domain, and you get to decide what you want recent events to change about your traits. Specifically, the trait for the house that goes by Ruthless. I think you can all access the House Cheshire character sheet in the journal. When you click on the center tab where it says character sheet, it gives you the different domains, and it gives you the different positions within the house. So you have Pardo Reed, for example, as the House Marshal, and you have the different traits that are available under where it says house type. Currently, you have Cunning and Ruthless. The Ruthless trait was gained originally, if you remember, from back in Season 1, when it was known then that it was assumed that Adelaide had sent Alicia to her death with the Carrolls. And so House Cheshire had gotten this reputation as being ruthless with their own. It's your prerogative, however, since this is your house, as to whether or not you want to change that or keep it as it is.
Good question. Would I get a say in this, considering I have my own house now, or?
Well, you have your own house, so you have your own responsibilities. And last I checked, I believe your name is now Archibald Librius instead of Archibald Cheshire.
I was just making sure.
Although House Cheshire is your vassal house, so it may impact you indirectly.
So, I'm not sure that. So I kind of like the vibe of ruthless, but I don't think that's the most accurate word. Vengeful strikes me as something that might work, like
vengeful.
Don't fuck with us or we will hurt you back. Or like protective if you want like that vibe instead.
I would say more.
Yeah.
Relentless.
Does everyone else who's part of House Cheshire agree on that or not? If you want to go with protective versus vengeful. Remember, this is your reputation within the Imperium. You're going from ruthless to something else.
Speaking of that, never mind. I'll tell you later. Nothing too big.
All right, we'll keep
So,
it for vengeful
do
right now, I guess.
do
Oh, I'm
traits
sorry, go ahead.
have to be a single word?
They typically are, but yeah, you can make it a thing, like short phrase or something like that.
Because I was thinking
Wow.
ardently protective.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay. Stalwart in your protectiveness. Okay. What about another secondary domain? Currently, your primary, which is hidden from everybody, from most people, is espionage. You have an expertise in gathering intelligence. Your secondary domain is industrial manufacturing of ornithopters for the Imperium. What would be a secondary or another secondary domain for your house?
Jokingly, spice.
Spice
mean-
harvesting? You want to get into the spice game, do you?
If
Here it's
if
very
it's
lethal.
Norma, it's going to be another answer entirely.
I'm sure.
Oh, so I'm thinking so many possibilities.
Well, let me help if I may.
Mhm.
Remember that at the end of season 2, technically, House Cheshire does have control of a lot of assets that used to belong to House Drunenbar. House Drunenbar was a major house and a major military house at that. So if you wanted to have a secondary domain be like military surplus, military equipment, or military expert, or if you wanted to utilize somebody like Archibald to train a whole cadre of strategists or something like that, you could make that your other secondary domain if you like.
Because my house is also, I believe, one of my primaries is military.
Precisely.
I think the intersection of ornithopters and espionage makes strategists a fitting option.
Strategist, excellent. Military, okay. Put that in here. Expertise, then, okay. Strategist. Okay, very good. Just want to make sure they get that out of the way. And because you are a major house now, that means that you get a major house and a minor house as enemies. That's right. What did you think? Because you technically won Canley against the Carols that you're in the clear. But luckily for you, I pre-rolled all this fun stuff for you, so it's going to be a surprise as to who your enemy turns out to be. And now we can begin in earnest with our storyline here, Leviathan.
I just want to very quickly give a big thank you to Greg Cthulhu and Betty's Dungeon Adventures. Thank you for the gift subs. That's very generous and I appreciate it.
Awesome.
All
Thank
are
you so
awesome.
much. Dear Mother, these are the longest days of my life. Ironic that the ones I recalled before now seem so short by comparison. Time is a fickle mistress, I suppose. Still, I treasure the memory of those shorter days. I should thank you for the education you afforded us. The prana bindu exercises in particular are essential now more than ever. I promise not to squander their memory and to take your lessons to heart, honing those abilities further than before. I'm sorry that it took this for me to work up the nerve and write you a proper letter. There just aren't enough words in the history of language that could adequately describe the pain that has been delivered to us by our enemies. Billions are dead. Entire cities razed. Our world ended, and nothing will truly be the same ever again. But even if our dream died that fateful day, Jabberwock lives on in our hearts. We are still here, Despite our own little deaths, we continue to carry on. For our love, you see, is unbreakable. And while our enemies believe that they have crushed us, we prepare. Because the best thing about being dead is that your enemies will never see you coming. So we let them celebrate their devious victories. We will allow them time to recover in order to strike them when they are at their most vulnerable. Wipe them out to the last whelp. We intend to make you proud, Mother. They will know our pain soon enough, and they will pray for the swift death before we are through with them. Long live Jabberwock, and long live our house. Daphne. It's night. The temperature has dropped significantly in the desert since dusk, and you feel that briskness on your skin as you run for your life out on those sands. The beast that is chasing you is a very, very large wolf. You're alone as you flee deeper into that desert with no sign of civilization in sight. You feel as if you've been fleeing this beast all your life, but now it has finally caught up to you. Here, on the planet at the center of the Imperium, is where you die. Everywhere you look, there's nothing but dunes and the approaching Coriolis storm on the horizon. Trapped between a deadly beast and an even deadlier environment. You bleed from an earlier wound, and before you realize it, you trip and that beast is upon you. Instinctively, your arm shoots up to keep it from reaching your throat. It begins to gnaw and crunch its way through your forearm. The pain is agonizing, and there doesn't seem to be an escape in sight. Then there are reports of a single rifle that rings out from somewhere. The beast lurches and falls over, panting. Looking around, there is a form in the distance shrouded in silhouette, holding what appears to be a Mauler rifle. They seem to wait for you to stand. And as you do, your blood continues to fall onto the sands, and you notice a hissing sound, a rattling of what sounds like a snake's tail. Suddenly, the sands around you begin to drop and coalesce around a massive maw that begins to form beneath you. An alabaster creature of colossal size emerges. You see yourself from above, falling into an abyss of perpetual darkness. And as you do, there is this smell of burning fire, something deep in the gullet of this beast. There is a furnace from which countless screams can be heard as you descend. And then you awaken from the recurring nightmare that has pursued you since arriving on Arrakis. It has been 6 months since the attack on Jabberwock. Not nearly enough time to recover from the trauma you experienced, so says Dr. Sloan. Against Doctor's orders, you came to this place with your entourage. Against all reason, you have thrown yourself into this terrible gamble to carry favor from the Emperor and raise the status of your house. Much to the envy of the other houses, the Imperial Spice Observer, Count Hasamir Fenring, has afforded you accommodations at the palace in Arrakis during your stay. This is no doubt a favor that has been granted from the Count's best friend, the Emperor Shaddam IV. Your advisor does not see it this way. No. Omelis believes that something has made the Emperor nervous about House Cheshire and is keeping you close to his spice minister and his Bene Gesserit wife in order to spy on your activities. What that is, who can say? Maybe it was the way in which House Cheshire's atomics were acquired by their sworn enemy and how those weapons were used to turn Jabberwock into a wasteland. Maybe it was because only House Cheshire emerged intact. Normally, the easiest answer is always the most likely. In which case it may be because he has placed his secret heir, Massam, in your care. You've had these thoughts daily, and just like with many of those mornings, Omelas and housekeeping have appeared at your doorway and have entered with breakfast. Coffee with melange, baked cheese, and sugar pastries fresh from the palace kitchens. Omelas clears his throat and waits for you to awaken and address his presence.
To hide how much that dream has shaken her, and probably covers it up a little bit with like going for the robe, like a dressing gown to put that on, focusing a little bit on the food so she doesn't have to focus on him until she has completely regained her composure. Also, I just noticed that Eric's name in the Zoom is Shai Halud.
I had to.
May his passing cleanse the world.
You see, Omelas pretends not to notice that you're a little rattled from your awakening. Your Grace, I have prepared your weekly status report and committed it to memory. Economic information, security details, individual retainer analysis, whatever information you require, I am prepared to report. And his eyes roll into the back of his head. So basically, this would be like a regular sort of occurrence. You know, the maids drop off the trays for breakfast and they leave. And he just sort of stands there and you're like, what's the situation with the Landsraad? And he just rattles off information from memory about everything that he knows that he's committed to memory earlier in the week.
Yeah, does anything jump out as unusual or needing special attention?
Within recent weeks, you know that the Harkonnens have been making a lot of announcements in their city of Carthag, and word has already reached Arrakis. It looks like they're trying to bring a lot of the houses together for some sort of thing that Raban, the governor, wants to involve them in. So he has a lot of that information already committed to memory. If you wanted to ask him about it, he can give you details. If you wanted specific information about an individual member of your entourage, he has like the details, as it were.
Yeah, I would want a status report on everybody on the entourage, as well as his take on what the fuck Robin is up to.
Second, yeah.
She
he
probably
begins. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just she probably also requests like monthly updates on Lysander.
He begins with Lysander. Coming into the tail end of a long recovery, he is still being looked over by Dr. Sloan and others at the Sook School. I trust he will make a swift recovery soon, Your Grace, and not a moment too soon, it seems. He then goes on the wave with people like Pardo, for example. Pardo is adjusting, as we all are, sequestered to his quarters. Who can know what the Master Mentat is up to? He seems to have grown quite fond of one of our own Jabberwock jungle cats and has taken it with him as a pet. Also, he has deemed it necessary to keep an armed guard of some sort in his orbit. Not an unwise choice given recent events. All in all, they have all been vetted. I will be meeting with him shortly today, he says. Your sister was found guilty of treason before the Landsraad. She is to face execution soon. However, with her being complicit in the aiding and abetting for the assault that took place on Jabberwock, the carrying out of this sentence may become delayed due to the concerns of the Landsraad.
What concerns?
The concerns, Your Grace, of the use of atomic weapons and their acquisition.
Ah.
There will be inquiries, I assure you. As for Jabberwock itself, he says, the case involving the assault will go to the local Landsraad first, and then to the Landsraad. There will be inquiries with matters of Canley. There will be inquiries, the resolutions for which will determine what assets and resources House Cheshire will inherit, and so on. You can expect to hear from the judge of the change appointed to the issue of Canley between our house and House Carroll's. We will need to be unified in our deliberation and testimony before the Landsraad. In proceedings such as this, the Emperor is likely to be present.
I will make sure to prepare.
As for Norma, I'm afraid our resident Bene Gesserit witch tends to keep her own counsel far too often. Unfortunately, she fled to Wallach Ix to continue her education as a manipulator. Although I understand she is to be making a return soon if the palace guards are any indication.
Don't know that I would accuse her of fleeing.
He keeps it. He'll stay quiet on that. No comment. He'll continue on with the rest of the retinue. Massam having semi-regular and recurring nightmares since arriving here, no doubt happening in part because of recent experienced trauma, though there is an argument to be made for the spice. We may need to improve the quality of the face mask we afford him when traveling out and about. While Arrakis is nothing like Carthage with its smog clouds, melange saturates every inch of this city. Spend enough time here and the body becomes acclimated to the spice, and before you know it, you're addicted. As for your uncle, with concerns with him, I'm afraid that there isn't much to talk about that hasn't already been said, he says. Now, if you don't mind, we can have a group meeting, as it were. I can make the arrangements to acquire Master Reed and the others so that you can address them as a whole. We are
Please.
receiving quite a few emissaries today. Of course, Your Grace. Is there anything you do before you ask him about before he leaves?
What is the current political situation on Arrakis?
Several houses are here, Your Grace, working with hand in hand with the Harkonnens, much as we are, but they, of course, are not working on Chom Company contracts, such as our house has been afforded by the Emperor. They have other stakes, and they have other means, but all in all, they are assisting in the effort to buy the Harkonnens to improve their output of melange for their monthly quota. The political situation in the Landsraad currently is a bit tenuous concerning the Harkonnens and their hold on the planet. There are rumors that the Emperor is eyeing a replacement. It gives you this look like.
Really?
We may want to. Yes. Something to consider, perhaps.
Is this rumor, or does it have teeth?
I am still investigating these claims at this time, but it does come from a valid source of information.
Good to know.
And he's like, if there's nothing else, then he kind of turns on his heel and he starts heading down the hallway towards Pardo Reed's chambers. You stand before the large mirror in full house uniform attire. The face that greets you now you've seen 1,000 times before, and it was one you thought you knew very well. That all changed 6 months ago on Jabberwock. You lost a vital piece of yourself that day, Pardo. Since that time, you've had to remake yourself and readjust to your new reality. Despite your trials, however, you have not arrived on Arrakis empty-handed. Outside the door to your quarters waits a hidden blade, one who will kill on command. Like a shadow, Tiberius follows your every move and ensures that nothing interferes in your agenda. As the shutters to your windows twist and slide open remotely, the light from the dawn touches the nose of your jungle cat pet from Jabberwock, Schrodinger. It gently lifts its head and begins bathing itself. Soon you will have to retrieve from it the treatment for your condition. Strangely, you felt yourself growing attached to the beast in the time spent with it. Stranger, perhaps, than it seems to also have taken a liking to you as well. Has the jailer become the jailed? Oh, Schrodinger, only time will tell. A chime comes at the door. Housekeeping doesn't come this early, and even Tiberius is not awake in these hours. Who comes calling on the House Mentat at such an hour? You hear, Master Reed, good to see you in top shape again. It has been some time since Jabberwock, has it not? Feels like another lifetime ago some days. I have come to collect you for the weekly house staff meeting with the Duchess. Are you prepared? You certainly appear to be.
Of course. I simply fear I may have misplaced my favorite fruit.
Is that right? Tell me, Pardo, before we leave. You discovered something about me back on Jabberwock, which was something that I had never told anyone else. I would like to speak to you about this, if you were, of course, interested in doing so.
Certainly.
He shuts the door, and he activates a sound dampener. I will not mince words here today. I have too much respect for you as well as your station and standing within the house for that. The organization I belong to, the Hexagon, consists of mentats like yourself and I. We survey a great deal of information that passes within the Imperium, from the local Ciselrads of individual systems to the Landsraad itself, and its many great houses. We intercept and process a great deal of information. The sharing of this knowledge and its use within our projections are priceless. The Hexagon has operated for hundreds of years. Many of its members have presided over some of the largest and most powerful houses of the Imperium. We exist as a sort of answer to the Bene Gesserit sisterhood. While they manipulate bloodlines from the shadows, we prefer to guide humanity with information and knowledge. Because secrecy is so sacrosanct, no one member knows the identities or patron houses our mentats belong to. Much like how the guild contends that the spice must flow, we too feel that information is a commodity that is just as valuable as melange. Because of the sensitive nature of much of this information, the Hexagon doesn't accept just any mentat into its ranks. But you are not just any mentat, are you? What you did on Jabberwock and what you were able to achieve by breaking the hold of the Tleilaxu on your person is nothing short of astounding. If anyone found out about it, they would kill to know how you did it. Indeed, the Tleilaxu found out, they would absolutely kill you for fear that others would learn how to defeat their infamous conditioning. The Hexagon has heard of your exploits, and they are prepared to offer you a seat at our table. Share with us. How do you respond?
Pardo, normally very quick to action, takes a moment to just register that there is in fact the secret society, and he's being completely honest here in regards to such secret society, and he slowly blinks. You want to know how I did it?
Indeed.
Very simple. I forgot the conditioning.
How is that possible? You would have to just no. That is not something so simple as that. He says. Taliaxu are known for their insidious ways of how they condition a person. They entwine their conditioning inside of someone like a snake. Once it is wired into your brain, it is impossible to break. Quit jesting, man. Tell me how you did it.
Perhaps I was not as forthcoming as I should have been. First, I remembered that I was conditioned. Then, I forgot the conditioning.
How does
Now,
one do this? That's impossible. But he's just like, never mind.
It took minimal outside assistance. It's
marvelous.
rudimentary, really.
He's just like, yeah, you just forgot. Sure. Well then, your final answer concerning my offer to you.
Scientist of the year right there, man.
You wish for me to sit at your table to join you.
Indeed.
And what would you expect of me then? That I share everything I know, all of my information with other mentats I'm not aware of?
Correct. Movements in the Imperium that can affect everyone.
I will need to consider the full ramifications of this, I feel.
Very well.
Should not take more than 17 and a half hours exactly, but come to me
I
after
eagerly
that.
await your decision. Yes. Very good. And then with that, he deactivates the cone of silence. Well, with that, I shall now take my leave of you, Master Reed. It has been a pleasure and an education working alongside such an exemplary mentat such as yourself. Good luck to you, Pardo Reed. Until we meet again.
Likewise.
He waits for you to leave, to go with him, to accompany, to meet with Daphne and the rest of the group. And passing by, you see like there's a chamber off to the side. Then you can hear what sounds like one of the Choma jesters like talking about how ornithopters are to be constructed on Arrakis or on Jabberwock, and the costs involved in bringing them over, and like what measuring the costs of whether to construct them here with the locals or elsewhere. And you can hear the voice of Masum talking with the adjuster, and you hear them say something to the effect of you hear Masum saying, "What are we doing?" And the Treasury functionary's like, "We are deciding whether the cost of creating ornithopters here will be higher than just transporting them from Jabberwock. I have to say, it is quite complex. The math appears roughly the same, so we're weighing the merits of the moment, Master Masum." You see Masum just kind of like, he's in the doorway's open, he's just sort of thinking, and he just instantly comes up with this idea. It's like, just bring in the parts. That way we can hire the locals to assemble the thopters, and if any of the parts get lost, we can write the theft off as an expense of doing business. And he sees you in the doorway, and he's like, "Master Reed, good morning." And for a minute, you think, this kid would probably make a pretty good mentat.
Good morning to you as well, Masum.
Is there a meeting?
There is.
Melis is like, yes, but I'm afraid you're not welcome at the meeting just yet, Master Masum. Perhaps in the near future. And he's just kind of like, okay, fine. And he just kind of looks bored, sitting on this table, like looking over like figures and stuff pertaining to the treasury. Norma. The navigator warned you about days like this. Times that you would be drawn to the desert crucible that is the planet Arrakis. She talked of hydraulic despotism in the past as it is in the present and will be in the future. Unless something is done here within this lifetime. The Sisterhood, the Guild, indeed the entire Imperium, and all of humanity would change from the events that would transpire on this very world you stand in now. Perhaps it was this very sense of prescient urgency that Mother Superior herself sent you here. Since the resolution of the schism, you were chosen to be her right hand. This meant assessing threats before they became threats, and assisting in efforts to locate and find people important to the Sisterhood. Though it is currently unclear why she sent you here, to the residential palace in Arrakis, there is a contact you are intended to meet. The Lady Margot Fenring. So, as you travel to Arrakis, are you traveling in full Reverend Mother regalia, or are you trying to travel incognito?
Oh no, I'm in full regalia.
Very good. Word from Wallach seems to have reached the palace in advance, and so when you arrive in the Arrakeen starport, Lady Fenring's servants took you into a very unique chamber within the palace, where they asked what you, and then they asked that you await her arrival. Your senses were instantly assaulted the moment the seals were removed and the very large door pulled open to reveal a surprisingly large room stocked wall to wall with greenery. It's this very large oval outer door with this filter glass on it. The white sunlight from outside, it kind of has like softer yellow glow to it. It's a very luxurious private haven that's about maybe 10 meters squared and has every available space on it, crowded with every kind of exotic wet climate plant you can imagine. Very preened mimosa flowers, flowering quince or dwarf cypresses and cedars. They even have fogwood here from the Kaz, giant mosses and so on.
All
and in
on
the
you.
center, yeah, and in the
Okay,
center
cool.
there's this small low fountain with like fluted lips, and it's amount of water here that could maybe support thousands of people, and it's just like there. Very odd scene, very odd sight coming to a desert planet, and then you walk into this room, but you're just sort of assaulted by everything that's in here as you're made to wait for the Lady Fenring. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was just making sure that it was on Dune.
Yes.
An oasis in the desert.
Yes. Mother Superior was surprisingly short with her information with you. She just sent you on this assignment to meet with one of her contacts, that being the Miss Fenring herself, but you don't have any information beyond that. And there's some people here, clipping leaves and such, and like spraying precious water onto some of the plantlings. And then you hear, as you're waiting for the lady, you hear, "Oh, my deepest condolences on the recent trouble on Jabberwock. Terrible situation, really. My Count and the Baron Harkonnen each send their regards. They understand the difficulty in which you and your house is having to operate in such an unforgiving place such as Arrakis," she says. And she walks in, and she's got like a very nice looking gold looking gown with a flower and a weird Dune hat, and she very quaintly just sort of bows and does a curtsy and like offers to, or just gives you like a or the offering of her hand, to like shake it or what have you.
I, accept it, and I inform her, you give us our condolences, yet you've been trapped here with only this tiny oasis for comfort.
Oh, it's not that terrible, I assure you. There are quirks to being the lady of the spice minister, of the spice inspector, rather. She's like, as a fellow adherent to the sisterhood and a member of a major house, allow me to welcome you to Arrakis, she says. And though the city itself is rife with conflict, House Harkonnen and House Fenring work in concert to keep things under control. As guests here in the residency, your entourage will be staying in the rooms located in the guest wing of the palace. We employ the finest from around the Imperium, so whatever it is that you need for your retainers or what have you, ask and it shall be provided to you. Arrakis can be a horrendously difficult planet to manage given its unique circumstances. However, I am sure that with your new working relationship with the Harkonnens and an Imperial agent such as my husband present, we can overcome any trial or tribulation. The entire time she's talking, she's just doing so for everybody who's there. And as she's walking in lockstep with you through the garden, she's signaling with her hands. The Bene Gesserit speak of Jacobsa. She's like, I have received word from Warlock on your mission. Some of the sisters who aligned themselves with the schism may have used our Missionaria Protectiva initiatives to move themselves into the local Fremen tribes. The locals have their own reverend mothers, called Sayadinas, that are considered their spiritual leaders. You will want to speak with one of them and determine which sisters fled where. We will use this space to communicate with one another. Mother Superior awaits your findings. How do you respond to Lady Fenring?
As we're talking, I just once again continue with the talk shop, as you know, all they're hearing is, oh well, you know, it is a dark or a harsh environment, but I am sure that with all the help from the Harkonnens, as they are such a wonderful people, and the House Fenring itself, and you know, I just start spitting out accolades to both houses, and in the quiet speech, tell her, thank you for the information. Which tribe have you learned is willing to work with us best?
I know of one. She's like, I know of one along the shield wall that I discovered several years back, but I don't know how much help they will be to you. Tread carefully. With that, she's like, I do believe that some of your compatriots with House Cheshire are here in the residency. If you want to visit with them, I believe that they're holding some sort of a staff meeting currently on the upstairs.
Thank you.
Of course. Until we meet again, she says, and she kind of like, and she motions to one of the handmaidens, like, afford her whatever she needs, and show her to her quarters, please. Yes, your lady, and you know, you get escorted up the stairway there. Okay. Archibald. Okay. You sit with Yeva Schumann, your new wife, along with Ronus and Warakeen of the White Rabbits, and discuss the advent of House Librius. Yeva has the ears of her company, while you command the respectable White Rabbits, and you're technically the steward of Jabberwock currently. This would technically put you in command of House Drunenbar's remaining troops, who now fly House Cheshire's banner. This puts House Librius at 2 battalions, with 2 more under House Cheshire at their beck and call, should they need to draw on reserves. That is a grand total of about 4,000 troops. And the entire reserves of House Drunenbar's atomic arsenal, as well as what's left on House Cheshire's on Snicker. Schumann believes this makes House Librius and Cheshire some of the most formidable military houses in the Imperium, barring House Carino itself, of course. You discuss this arsenal, and somebody interrupts partway through. My lord, there is someone here for you. And you see Schumann's like motions him over. And she's like, not now, she says. And she looks over to you and Ronus and Wara of the White Rabbits. Since the merger, General Archibald and I have co-control of 2 entire battalions drawn from what's left of House Drunenbar. The Landsraad solidifies the merger. By this time next year, there will be 4 battalions between our house and Cheshire's. This is to say nothing of what remains behind from House Drunenbar stockpiles. Ronus and Wara are like, okay. That's actually another battalion's worth at least. So really 5 total, 4,000 soldiers. It's almost a legion, sire. They look over to you.
I'd have to agree with you on that one.
You see the soldiers like, sir, there's a representative here from the Tleilaxu.
Who is it?
It's a dwarf, sire.
Dwarf.
Yes.
Did he
see, Yeva's
say
like,
what he was here for?
he said he would only speak to you, sire.
Okay.
You want to meet with this person? You see Yeva ask you like, what?
That's actually a good thing that I should. You are my new wife, as I see. What is your take on this?
Well, this is like, I don't trust the Tleilaxu, much like anyone else in the Imperium. It is your prerogative, however, if you want to entertain someone such as that in your presence. If you think that there's anything to gain from them.
Yeah, good point. I'm going to motion kind of like everyone out, and I tell...
Including her?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Actually,
okay.
Could I observe her like facial expressions when I say
that? Sure. Roll discipline.
Discipline?
Or actually for you would be roll understand, sorry.
I have the observe focus on my discipline.
Ah. Okay. Yeah, you can roll that.
I want to know how much she cares about this. What?
Oh, she's not very good at this at all. Well, actually, she is. She's got a pretty disciplined. I'm gonna say she has composure. So power. It's all about power. Just 2 dice is fine. She's not an expert.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Okay. You don't have to roll very high. It's a 0 difficulty because she got 0 successes.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll. Oh well. She turned too quickly.
Oh my god!
As you tried to observe her, she just kind of she made a face, but you couldn't see it, and she just turned and left.
Really? God, my luck. Jesus.
No worries, no worries. So she motions for everybody to leave the room. Even the guards are not present.
No, I'm also going to put a cone of silence on this.
Smart, very smart. Okay. In walks this short dwarf in red, all red clothes. He does like a mock curtsy, and he enters the room. And as the doors close and he walks into the field, in the silence field, he's like, greetings and good tidings to you all.
What could I do for you?
You may refer to us as Zajib. We bring gifts and good tidings for all. Fortune for the unfortunate who died during your house's fall.
Oh,
A
that's
servant to our masters and a riddle to you, offering an immortal new life with its Leilexu. Who among you wishes to live past your demise? Surely a response is forthcoming from someone so wise, he says.
What exactly are you telling me?
A new lease on life for the dearly departed. There's no time to waste, so let's get started.
I guess you could say that.
Though you did not call for us, we are indeed calling on you. An offer we bring from those who can breathe life into all or just a few. A strand of hair or an ounce of blood is all that's required, enough to replicate the loved or resurrect the undesired.
So, what I'm gonna do next? Well, there just so happens to be something that you could help me with. And in my pocket, or in my jeans, I'm going to take out a vial with one singular hair on it.
Oh,
And I'm going
could
to
you
hand it
could you
over.
message me whose hair that is?
Yes, I did. I want you to clone this DNA.
He's like, music to our ears. A wonderful development indeed. Let us then speak in private. What we may provide to thee.
It's about as private as we're gonna get right now, unless you have another place.
Oh no, this is where the rest of the scene would have to take place in private, obviously, because I know
Oh, yeah.
exactly who your target is.
Correct.
Okay, 1 second. Eloise. Morning. You take your prescribed dosage of melange with your breakfast and prepare your things for the trip to meet the navigator. Looking out the window in your room aboard the Hayliner, the entire planet of Junction is almost completely covered with landing fields, repair bays, and like, to say nothing of the various shipyards that orbit it, responsible for creating the very vessel you're standing in, making interstellar travel possible within the Imperium. It is unique in that it is the primary staging planet for the entire guild and its bank. This place leaves a bittersweet taste in your memories. It is, after all, an enormous reminder of your previous failures to achieve a position of prestige within the organization. This feeling is punctuated when the shuttle that transports you down swings close to the unmistakably large Navigator School. To your surprise, this is where you are to meet the third stage steersman that summoned you here. You can't help but think they chose this place on purpose. Perhaps to throw you off balance? Punish you? Who can know what is on the mind of such mysterious beings? Black plascrete walls tower over you as you are transported from shuttle to ground car and driven into the compound housing the Navigator School. The ground car eases to a stop, and you are escorted into a large, freight-like elevator that smells unmistakably of melange. When doors open again, you are led by a pair of faceless representatives for the institution, their faces appearing and disappearing behind the swirling orange vapor clouds of melange contained inside their transparent glass covers. They wordlessly lead you down a long corridor and finally to the large black metal tank that contains the steersman. The two representatives stop and also activate a silenced field before stepping outside its range. Floating amidst an enormous cloud of melange themselves, they float close to the glass to better observe you. You have heard of this navigator before. The spice gas has mutated them significantly enough that they no longer appear human. This is Edrico. An alien voice emerges from the grill on the tank's speaker, the sound reverberating around the silenced field. I sensed your arrival earlier today. Despite your obvious talent for prescient vision, it does not impair our ability to see you. Consider this as you process the reason why you have been called here today. 1 second. We have detected multiple Nexus events forming before and after the arrival of House Cheshire on Arrakis. These Nexus events are perplexing, potentially dangerous, and keep us from being able to parse the possibilities that stem from them. Some of the outcomes we have glimpsed all show major interruptions in the production of melange. This must be corrected. Whatever means and methods we must employ to identify and remove these nexuses from Arrakis will need to be taken. Work with our embassy in Arrakis. Identify the source of these Nexus events and share your findings with us. And he kind of floats there for a second as he observes you, giving you a moment to respond or to ask questions.
I take it it's no accident that my former house is where I'm being sent.
You know as well as I that this was by design.
Very well. The spice must flow, and I serve the guild.
Your past failures notwithstanding, there is still a purpose you can serve with us. Consider this an opportunity to rise in the status of our organization and potentially that of your own house. The spice will flow.
Understood.
This is what you remember from a week ago, as the shuttle from the Hayliner arrives on the tarmac in Arrakis. The guild is very particular about how their buildings look and feel. So as on Junction, you see these same black plascrete walls tower over you as you're driven into the compound housing the guild emissary. Embassy, excuse me. Low-level functionaries typically ply their trade here. They're meeting with Chom dignitaries and occasional spice ministers from Kaitane sent here on behalf of the Emperor. Inside the building, you're taken to someone named Hina, surprisingly young, shapely, and sporting a shock of white hair. Hina reads as a highly competitive manager of this guild branch. She doesn't waste too much time on pleasantries. She simply greets and informs you that their previous representative to the residential palace is being recalled to the embassy. You are to be their replacement point of contact from here on out. Though she doesn't appear to be impressed with you, she is surprised that you were sent here from Junction under very special and sealed instructions. Once you're situated, they offer you a ride to the residency at your convenience. Hina will, of course, be your contact for any word that is to be sent back to Junction, and by extension to Edrico. Is there anything specific you wanted to ask of her, or anything you wanted to do while you're on planet with your handmaiden?
The handmaiden later alone, yes. But with Hina, I think just kind of a general status. Who's there of her family? Who's on Arrakis currently?
She kind of uninterestingly, like, she sits on her desk and she's like filing her nails, and she's just like, oh, so Duchess, what's her face? Daphne, Adeline's daughter, and her retinue of miscreants from Jabberwock. They're all there, I'm sure.
I see.
She's like, I believe that they're supposed to be, like many of the other houses here on Arrakis, assisting the Harkonnens with their atrocious harvesting of melange. I trust that you will be in good company, I suppose, with the Cheshires.
You'd be mistaken. I'm no longer a member of that house.
My apologies, she says. My interest mainly is to make sure that my branch looks good in the eyes of our adjusters on Junction. So I expect the absolute best from you. I understood?
Understood.
Very good, you're dismissed. And right before we go to break, I left the best for last. Zashir Tamer. It's like, let me adjust the music here. You watch as a thopter buzzes over the rocky crags of the islet south of the Cielago Depression. The Fremen from Siege Tuono Clam approach at last from the South Polar regions. Renowned for their negotiating tactics, they have handled the transfer of the spice bribe between the Fremen and the Guild for generations. With their close proximity to the smuggler camps, they don't often bother with a worm with an ornithopter suffices. You and your warriors from Siege Hagaharg are, on the other hand, took a 10-thumper worm ride to reach this bluff in the hours just before sunrise. The guild arrived shortly afterwards in their lighter with their own security escort. As usual, they cover their faces to avoid detection. This transaction, after all, is highly illegal, and knowledge of its existence can result in serious consequences, not just for them, but for all Fremen on Dune. As the negotiators from Tuono Clam land, you and your warriors take up positions and continue your overwatch. The initial payment comes in the form of large containers full of unrefined spice. An emperor's ransom. That's the type of payment the Fremen make yearly to the guild in order to keep their satellites out of the air. The benefits of this accord cannot be overstated, as secrecy of movement and activity in the desert are paramount to your people. You watch as the pressurized plasteel boxes containing the spice are unpacked. Representative meets the negotiator, and the exchange begins. The entire process is over relatively quickly, as both Guild and Fremen work fast to complete the transaction as first light begins to show above the peaks. The relative calm of the cool morning is broken, however, by the buzzing sounds of ornithopters and the engines of the Guild lighter roaring to a start. Apprehensive glances are exchanged between your warriors and the negotiators. The Guild reps are visibly perplexed as their transport lifts into the air without them, kicking up whirlwinds of dust. Weapons are brandished and aimed just as the hum of a shield is activated on the rising lighter. "The spice!" the head representative shouts as they point to their vehicle. "They're taking the spice!" His shouting is quickly silenced as 3 military-class ornithopters rise above all of you. hover in the air and begin to open fire on the delegation, sending everyone, including yourself, into cover. Guild and Fremen alike are dead, and the spy scribe is in the wind. Nelia, one of the warriors from your siege, looks at you and points wordlessly to the still functional thopter the negotiators arrived in. What do you do?
Oh, that's a music change. Oh my god. Do I know who these ornithopters belong to?
Yeah, they belong to the Fremen negotiators who came here to facilitate the spice bribe to the guild. So while you and your warriors from your siege came on a worm ride that lasted like 10 thumpers is how you measure it, they came here on a thopter, and they were the last ones to arrive. You were the first because you had to set up security. Now you're being attacked by somebody, and the guild lighter is taking off with the guild bribe on it. And the guild representatives are freaking out and dying quickly. So one of your warriors like thumbing the thopter that the negotiators came in on, like, we got to do something. What are we gonna do? You have 3 Fremen as part of your company that are still alive, at least. One is human, the other one is Nelia, and the other one is Hurdy. I'll leave all of them in the chat here so you can get an idea of who they are.
Do I see any personal shields?
Only on the shield lighter that's taking off with the spice bribe. You don't see shields on the thopters.
Do they look to be landing, or are they staying in the air?
The ornithopters are like hovering in the air, and they're like focusing their fire on everybody who's there as part of the exchange. There are some rocks and things that you can hide behind for cover, but I mean, these are military class ornithopters. You see like explosions taking place as like some of them like have begun to bombard this large mesa with the weaponry that is contained on board those thopters. They're wiping everybody out.
Shit.
Yep.
I have a thumper in my Frem kit.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just gonna... I don't know how long it'll take for a worm to respond, but considering we just rode some here, I'm gonna toss it beneath the ornithopter.
Well, the ornithopter is, and this whole meeting is taking place on the rocks. So if you summon a worm, yeah, you can throw it down below, and it'll show up there, but it won't actually like get to where you're at. You would actually have to go down to where the worm is at in order to mount it and ride out off. If that's your plan. Or is the idea that you want to kick up like a dust storm or something like that for cover?
I was actually thinking that maybe the sandworm would eat the ornithopter.
Number one, it would depend on what kind of sandworm. Number two, unlikely. They usually respond to whatever's like in the immediate vicinity. Sometimes they'll reach out and grab something that's too close to the sand. But if you're on the rocks, you're safe, basically.
I don't have any weapons aside from my Chris knife. I think it would be best to motion for everyone to get to safety. There's likely...
if I may.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Some of the other warriors that you had with you were not just carrying Chris knives. When dealing with the outframe or outsiders, the Fremen often use Mala pistols, which are just projectiles. They're not laser weapons, so they don't have to worry about the interaction with the lasers and the shields and having explosions and stuff. But those few dead Fremen that are around you you can utilize their weapons if you want to. So if you want to pick up a Mala pistol and like fire at the ornithopter from cover or something like that, you can. If you want to jump in the ornithopter and take off after the lighter, you can do that. Right now, though, everybody's like jumping for cover because these ornithopters are like shooting at everybody and everything.
Grab a pistol, steal thopter.
Okay.
Drive it like I stole it.
All right, your three immediate Fremen warriors follow your lead as you like take off for the Thopter, jump in and start trying to get this thing up in the air. As this happens, they wipe out the remaining grouping of guild representatives that were stranded. Like you see some of the Thopters utilize actual las guns that are mounted on it and just slice people in half, like that. And you immediately take off into the air. Give me a piloting roll, which would be a move check. This is specifically, what do you want to try to do? Do you want to try to go after the lighter that's getting away with the spice bribe, or do you want to deal with the 3 military Thopters that are nearby?
While they stole spice, they didn't waste water, and that's kind of a grave sin. So, after the water wasters.
No, but they did kill a bunch of your kin.
Ah, shit. Decisions. How long will it take that lighter to take off into orbit or wherever it is going?
That depends on where it's going. Right now, it doesn't appear to be going into an upward trajectory like you would expect it to be. It just seems to be going level, skimming the tops of the rocky areas in this part of the desert, deep desert.
Okay then, lighter it is.
Okay, follow after the lighter. One of the other Thopters that are assaulting the mesa see you up and leaving, and they start to give chase. Give me a move check, please. If you're attempting to catch up to the lighter, I pre-rolled this, so the difficulty is 5. You need a 5 move to be able to catch up to it.
I do have a move of 7, so let's see. Either duty, which is my highest, all for the good of the siege, or justice because they murdered kin.
Yes. And I did a little bit of a rework for the graphics for the momentum and threats pools. So now it has like a handy dandy little indicators as to how it functions basically. You currently do not have any momentum because it's generally accrued as you go, but you can always pay me threat if you want some extra dice to roll.
Oh, the game is just beginning.
The game is just beginning.
Rolled a 14 and a 9.
So you got 1 success, judging by that, which is not enough to get anywhere near the lighter. And that opens you up to an attack by the leading ornithopter that comes up and tries to put you in its sights. The other 3 Fremen are manning the guns, and they're like, "Swing us into position so we can fight back. We gotta get out from behind it." Roll me a battle check, please.
Oh boy.
And your difficulty is going to be difficulty 2.
Not sure what drive would actually. Probably just stick with justice.
Yeah, as you're trying to pilot behind the lighter, it kind of dips and like whoever's piloting the lighter knows what they're doing, and they're using the thrusters to just drop suddenly and then just go fly through a hoop of like rock and leave you in the dust. You got 2 successes. That does it. So as this thing tries to outmaneuver you and try to fire on you, you definitely move out of the way and you try to get into a good position to try to get a shot off of it if you can. One of your Fremen warriors opens fire. Let's see, that's simple. Okay. 2. That's a hit. Okay, so one of them managed to fire It's just a mounted Mauler rifle that's on the side of the ornithopter. Nothing too fancy, but they fire it onto the ornithopter that's giving you chase. They manage to crack the glass on it a little bit. One of the guys that's manning the guns gets shot and wounded, not dead, but they get moved out of the way, and the whole thing sort of veers this way as it starts to track smoke. Let's see. You lose sight of the lighter though, just as both of you sort of break off, and you manage to damage the one that was pursuing you. They all sort of look back over their shoulders. What's going on? Nelia, one of the three that accompanied you that survived the attack on the mesa, is just like, we lost the spice bribe. Nawan will exile us if the tribe doesn't take our water first. What are we gonna do? We gotta warn the Siege and get word to the others. Come on, it's a long way back home.
It's a long way back.
Break. Let's take our mid-show break, everybody. Let's give another 10 minutes or so. The time is currently 12:45 Eastern Time. We'll return at 12:55 Eastern Time. And welcome back. We had just left off on a bit of a cliffhanger there with Ambrose's character, as they just discovered that the spice bribe between the Fremen and the guild has been stolen by someone and taken to parts unknown. And their entire delegation, composed of both guild representatives and Fremen alike, were massacred by 3 military-style ornithopters. Let's see, character. So Shir Tamer and his 3 Fremen warrior companions managed to escape the destruction aboard the ornithopter that had originally carried the negotiators from a different tribe, from a different siege, to that location. Having just barely escaped without being destroyed yourselves, you're flying out over the deserts of Arrakis, unsure how to get back, how to get report this to your Naib, to your leader, and what to do about it. Hurdy, one of your 3 warriors, she's jumping up and down. She's like, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" And she seems to be extremely worried about what the repercussions of this is going to mean for you and for yourself, Zashir, and for the rest of them. What do you
You're lucky you're in a still suit, otherwise you'd be wasting water right now.
She tries to calm down. Should we even go back? They might just kill us, won't they? They'll take our water.
I don't think so. And we're not going back.
What?
We need to chase them down.
We lost them. And you see, like, she points out with her little hands, she points out the viewfinder window, and you're sure enough, like, whoever took that guild lighter, that they took off in it. And you don't know where they are, where on Arrakis they've taken it. You had to dodge bullets and bombs from the ornithopter that was chasing you long enough to survive and to escape with it getting injured, with it getting damaged. You have no idea where they could have gone. The one place you know for sure, though, that they haven't been is up there. So they're not in orbit, which means they haven't left the planet yet.
This is someone that's here.
It must have been those damn Harkonnens, you see one of the other Fremen yells.
Wouldn't
You don't remember
surprise
seeing
me.
any emblems on any of the ornithopters. None of the fighters they had on board wore Harkonnen livery.
Did anyone recognize what they were wearing? Any emblems at all?
It was all happening too fast. You hear Hurdy say, like, I couldn't make out any details.
You need to be more observant.
Nelia kind of gives you this look, and it's like, leave her alone. She did what she could. She got us out of there alive. It's better than the rest of them. And she says a prayer to Shai-Hulud under her breath. It's like, we were supposed to protect them.
Let's go back and investigate what wreckage there is and collect the bodies.
Perfect. All right, we'll circle back around. It's not a difficult place to locate. And fly back over to the mesa, and you look, and there's just smoke and fire, blood on the rocks as the sun is rising. And you kind of hover in. You see one of the ornithopters actually got destroyed. Looks like one of the the damage that you dealt, and in combination with the assault, what little assault the guild and Fremen forces that were still on the rock were able to muster, were able to down it. So you actually see the ornithopter like crashed and burned in a different area of the mesa itself. It's not a difficult climb. You can get to it easily, you're Fremen, if you wanted to investigate it there.
Take us down. We're gonna investigate.
You 4 get out. Human is like, I'll mind the controls on the ornithopter in case they come back. In which case we can I can get you all, and we can take off into the air and get out of here if we need to escape quickly. And Hurdy's like, I'll take point, she says, and she gets has her hand on her crysknife and like chops down onto the rocks and stuff. And, Nelia follows her, followed by you. You're all scouts. You all worm riders and fighters all, so you all know what you're doing. It doesn't cost you. It doesn't take anything to, make your way through the rocks. With that being said, though, go ahead and see if you can generate some momentum for yourself and for the rest of the group, and make a very easy 0 difficulty move check. And remember, you can always get additional dice depending on what talents you have, or if you wanted to pay your game master some threat that I would absolutely not use on you later for any additional dice you may want to roll for that test.
I don't think subtle step would count for anything at the moment. Because I'm not sneaking anywhere.
Around. Yeah, you're just trying to move cautiously through terrain, so not necessarily. It's just a regular move check then.
Yeah. This time I'm using duty, all for the good of the siege, because looking to collect the bodies to bring it back to the death still.
Okay. Is it, or is it for truth?
Well, my truth is the greatest truth is destiny. So
Is this your destiny?
That's the question, isn't it? I think I will go with truth. To like trying to figure out the truth of what happened.
Okay. Fair enough. 2 successes. So you have 2 momentum, which means I can free up 2 tokens here for you. This is something that you could utilize when it comes to making tests and getting extra dice and stuff, finding out additional information from your tests. So you pick your way through the rocks, no problem. You start kind of picking your way through the wreckage of what's here. You look at some of the dead shooters that were aboard the vessel. They don't look like Harkonnens. They don't look like Fremen either. They look like outframe. You look closely, the way that their garb is, they look like they might be. They look like they have a uniform on, an emblem that you've never seen before.
What does the emblem look like?
It looks like this. It's probably easy if I just showed it to you.
That's ominous.
It looks like a banner that is like it's like almost like a teal green with like a purple stripe going down the center, and there's like a silver emblem of what looks to be like a cat or a lion or something like that. And there it's kind of like hard to read, but it said there's like a something on the uniforms or on the inside of the craft rather, as you're like picking your way through. You see that they have like they have accoutrements there that seem to point to a house of the Landsraad they belong to. You don't recognize it though. You're just like, this is just another one of these greedy houses, this Landsraad that they come here looking for the spice, and it looks like they were complicit in this theft. The worst implication though is that they know the Fremen have been paying off the guild to look the other way so they can move in secret out in the desert. This could mean terrible repercussions for all of the Fremen on Dune, and very specifically your tribe, whose responsibility it was to safeguard this bribe. A thing that happens yearly with the guild. So not only would you potentially have the guild upset at you, but all the other Fremen tribes would be looking at yours with disdain and disgust that they were not able to do something as simple as this to facilitate this, transfer of money.
I've never seen this emblem before. What we do?
See, the others look at each other, and they look at you, and they look at the stuff, and they're like, "No, more outframe. Don't know what to make of it." Roll me an understand check. Initially, you look at it and you're like, I don't know. Go ahead and roll, though. You just need to understand difficulty 1.
I'm gonna go do truth again.
Sure.
1 success.
1 success. Yeah. So as you're looking at the emblem, and the other Fremen look at it as well and go, "Wait, I know this sign." And it's like we've heard rumors, we've heard talk among the Harkonnen forces in the cities. This is the house that the Harkonnens are working with, House Cheshire.
They have a water price to pay.
Yes, they do. You see, Nelia says, "Now, what are we going to tell the Naib?" Do you go back to
We
your...
bring our kin back.
Naib? Oh, you want to bring back the... Yeah, you want to bring as many as you can back to the siege? Very good.
We bring our kin back. We speak to the Naib and tell him we have a hunting mission.
You flying back to your siege. They're surprised to see you. First of all, arriving in an ornithopter, so they don't shoot you down immediately. They recognize it as a Fremen use thopter. But as soon as you land, some of the warriors come out to greet you and to confirm that you're bringing back dead with you. So they bring back kind of like a litter to help load the bodies up and bring them into the death stills to extract their moisture. You're brought immediately before the Naib's quarters and are seated on the floor. One of the aides tells you what happened. One of the aides comes and tells Nauen what happened, and then they leave you and the other 3 warriors there in the room with you. Everybody's nervous. Nauen appears in her still suit with these sort of white robes over top of it, and her white hair in a top knot. Nauen is kind of an interesting person. She is very rare do you see a Sayadina take the position of a Naib, but in this particular case, that is what happened. So she has like these powers of perception and supposed oracular powers that she can sometimes see things that occur. This, though, is not something that she foresaw at all happening. So she sits down next to you as equals, and she looks to each of you in turn. The spice that was to be given to the guild has been stolen, and our warriors are dead. And yet it is you who are among the unlucky, for they at least died attempting to prevent this theft. You simply failed. If the guild does not receive their bribe, the Harkonnens will know our movements and will pursue us even into our own sieges until we have been purged from Dune, a memory. And you see Nelia speaks up. She said, wait, please, Nauen. Couldn't we just collect another bribe and get it to the guild? Surely between all the tribes we have enough spice. Nauen silences her with a look. It's not a question of having enough spice. This accord has not been disrupted for generations. I have sent word to Tuonoklam by Distrans. They are aware of the situation and report that the Spacing Guild is going to into a security lockdown. Even before this, something was causing them to appear on edge. Their satellites will soon fill our skies. These outframe owe our community a great water debt, one that I insist be paid in blood. You know what it is that you have to do. Retrieve the spice bribe and mete out Fremen justice against these outsiders. Should you fail to do either, do not bother to ever return here again. You see Nelia puts her head down and says, we understand. Right, Cheshire? How do you respond?
He kind of bites his tongue for a second, and then can't help but say it anyway. You mean, as a Sayadina, you didn't see this coming?
Something is happening on Arrakis, she says without missing a beat, and looks you in the eye when you say that. Something that has been blocking even my abilities to foresee the future. I feel, as do several other Sayadinas, that the time of the Mahdi is at hand. But only time will tell. He's like, I will now invoke the blood oath from those of you who remain from this debacle. And then she unsheathes her christening and waits for the others seated in front of her to follow suit. She draws a line across her arm, and it drips blood onto a pad on the floor that soaks up the moisture. You are all expected to do the same.
Zoshir does.
With these words, I bond you all to your oath. Your moisture will remain with the tribe until you prove victorious in your mission, after which it will be returned to you. Take some of your best warriors with you and do not return here without your charge. Say your goodbyes to your loved ones for now. Do not fail us again.
What loved ones, Sayadina?
She looks hurt at that, but then she easily, poker faces it back on. She looks a little surprised at that. Nelia's like, if they went by Thopter and Guild transport, there's only so many places they could have gone. We should check with the smugglers groups to the south in the cities. Lumia is like, agreed. Nelia can travel to the South Polar regions and speak to 2X people. I can head to Carthag, while Hurdy and Zashir can head to Arrakis. Hurdy's like, be like Haifa.
There was an unknown emblem. It was teal and purple with a large cat on it. Have you seen this in your visions at all?
I have. I've heard spoken of the cat in the sand. Some of our smugglers had made inroads with these outframe. And I had heard of them. I had thought perhaps that they would be different from these others. But I suppose there's no difference between any of these houses. Whether they be Harkonnen or not, they're just another oppressor. Go. And do not return without your charge, she says. She gets up and she sheathes her blade.
Sayadina, wait.
Another barb for me, Zoshir?
No. I was going to say goodbye to my loved one.
Goodbye for now. She says that with some emphasis of hope there, like you will return. Okay, very good. All right. Now we can move the action back to Arrakis. You are made aware that, Lady Daphne, that Norma and someone from the guild is here in the palace at the time that you're amassing everybody together for a staff meeting. Norma, you are shown up to your room and you're able to get unloaded and situated, as it were. Elois, you're able to do the same. You've never been here before, but as soon as you walk into the foyer of the palace and you see, in addition to House Fenring's banner hanging there, you also see House Cheshire's banner hanging from the wall, it immediately kind of like sends you back a ways in memory. There's a hustle and bustle of activity as aides and handmaidens are rushing to try to prepare a room for the Duchess and her retinue. And some of them have already issued summons to the both of you as well. Like, oh yes, you were to meet with the Duchess of Cheshire upon your arrival. They say to you, Elois, and for you, Norma, they sort of like, oh yes, I believe that one of the advisors is awaiting you up there as well. Unless there's any specific business that you wanted to conduct before the house meeting, so to speak, you can do it now. Speak up or forever hold your peace.
I make it a point that at every meeting there's a nice big pitcher of water
Nice.
and
That's
cups.
a good touch. Eventually, there's a large meeting room. Actually, let me bust out the map here. Hold on a second. I got a map of the residency here. Let's see. So you're mainly the room that this is taking place in, this meeting room, as it were, is taking place up in the.
I love the design of this map.
Yeah, pretty cool, right? There is the guest bedrooms over here. So you'd probably go out this way, down the main landing and the staircase, and go into the grand foyer. Just for reference, Norma, you had just been in the garden of conservatory here with
Lady Margot.
With Lady Margot, exactly. It's somewhat adjacent to the grand foyer, kind of like the offices to the dining room and so on. So that's where you would typically find it if you were curious. But you'll manage to find your way down to the foyer near the main entrance. And Elois, your reaction upon seeing Daphne and her retainers going down the large spiral staircase down into the main area.
I think she'll follow. Actually, this seems like an opportune time to introduce herself.
Sure.
So,
Daphne.
would Daphne recognize Eloise?
She probably hasn't aged terribly much, given the steady diet of spice.
Yeah. Yeah, you've probably seen family pictures and such in Adeline's room, of like her sisters and other family members, and yeah, you can definitely pick her out from the crowd. Like, oh, hey, hold on a second, I know who that is. The black sheep of the family of House Cheshire, you know.
So does Eloise draw attention to herself in any way?
She's going to like follow at a polite distance until you get into like where you're headed.
Yeah, probably the meeting room where we're about to have the staff meeting.
Yeah.
Secret messages, 1 second.
So I figure that Daphne probably catches sight out of the corner of her eye, but like sees the uniform more than the face, and it's like, oh, there's the navigator. Okay.
And then everybody's eyes are drawn, of course, to the Reverend Mother as she comes down in her full regalia, looking very tragic as always. Everybody kind of gives her a wide berth, all the servants and stuff. Your reaction, Norma, upon seeing Daphne and the rest of the house retinue once again?
Absolutely no expression on my face, but I do walk up to Daphne and greet her in the formal way that
In
would
customary
greet
manner, you're
a
lady.
duchess.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again, Norma.
It has been too long. How are the affairs of the house?
We're doing well enough. Surviving
awesome.
against the Harkonnen.
And our dear Mossam.
Mossam is among the. Well, actually, he's not there with the retainers, but yeah. Go ahead.
Has he been keeping up with the lessons I have sent?
He is growing wise beyond his years.
Excellent. With that, I nod, meld in with the rest of the crowd as best as a Bene Gesserit can.
Eloise will step in and clear her throat. Pardon the interruption. I figured it was best to dispense with this unpleasantness as soon as possible.
I'm sorry, Guild Representative. Eloise.
Yes.
Forgive me for not recognizing you sooner.
That's quite all right. It's been quite some time.
It's good to see you.
Indeed. I'm here strictly under guild orders to investigate some anomalies, but I imagine at some point I'll have to deal with you all, so I thought it best to make my presence known once I landed.
Be welcome, both as a representative of the guild and as a member of the family.
I left that last part a lot behind a long time ago, Duchess, with respect.
As you wish.
She'll look around and be like, I see my uncle's not with you.
No, he has been made steward of Jabberwock.
Wonderful.
I'm sure a message can be arranged if you wish it.
That is not necessary.
Should you change your mind?
Yes, perhaps it'd be good to catch up sometime. Just the two of us. I'm easy to find.
There's a lot to catch you up on.
Indeed. Well, then I'll leave you to it, shall I?
Yes, of course.
You go up to your room, where you were situated, for your very short introduction to the Duchess. You're traveling with your handmaiden, is that correct?
Yes.
She, demeanor-wise, like, how is she? Like, how would she interact, if at all, with any of these people? Or
Oh, I think outside of me, she's probably very cold and not friendly in any stretch of the word.
how would you describe what she looks like?
Oh, probably short, cut, dark hair, olive skin. I doubt she has the lovely spice eyes. So we'll say green eyes. She looks frail's not the word I want. She looks weak, but that's by design on her part.
Somewhat unassuming.
Yes.
Just sort of follows you around. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you see Eloise +1 head up the grand stairway, back into the guest quarters wing. Reverend Norma, you and the rest of the entourage here are assembled in this room, and you see what's his name? Omelas. Welcomes everybody, as usual. And then he makes a very special announcement before business is, as usual, is commenced. He turns to Daphne in front of everyone, including the servants, before they leave the room. And he's like, Your Grace, I have had the honor and the privilege of serving House Cheshire for many generations. Your mother entrusted me with protecting the lives of her family and keeping the integrity of House Cheshire intact. It is clear that after the assault we all witnessed, that I am no longer fit to serve the House at the capacity necessary to hold my position. After failing to anticipate and cease the destructive forces lurking within our own walls, I simply cannot continue to act under the title of advisor for our house and respectively tender my resignation.
Your resignation is not accepted.
He looks surprised when you say that. He's like, are you sure? He's like, but Your Grace, please.
I don't think any mentat could have foreseen what unfolded.
And yet I am I feel very inadequate in the presence of others who will undoubtedly surpass my ability to serve you and this house. And he looks to Pardo Reed. In my place, I wish to nominate Pardo Reed for the position of advisor. With William gone, the house will be in dire need of someone who can be trusted to protect its interests. Despite having been compromised by our enemy through no fault of his own, Master Reed has broken the Tleilaxu conditioning that had taken hold over his actions. This was no small feat, I assure you, as no one in the entire Imperium can lay claim to having beaten Tleilaxu mental programming and remain intact by the end. This fact alone makes him exceptional and more than sufficient to act as house advisor.
I will accept your retirement, but not your resignation. Rather, we will accept your retirement, not your resignation.
Well, then I can perhaps be of some use to House Cheshire still. We do have a vassal house on Jabberwock that needs looking after, and Master Archibald needs a steady hand in order to become a considerable steward of the planet. With your permission, of course, I will approach him for such a position.
I find this disappointing, but if that is where you feel best fit to serve, I will not stand in your way.
Thank you, Your Grace. It has been the honor of my life to serve you and our house in the capacity that has been afforded to me. It's like, now then, before I board the latest Guild Hayliner back home, new business. Let's see here. So you see, he kind of unscrolls some information that came by him by the Harkonnens. He's like, Governor Raban has summoned many of the houses and their retainers to the city of Carthag for a meeting. He's like, he is requesting everyone in assistance to some sort of new endeavor. What it is, it's not clear. I suspect it has something to do with the atrocious spice harvesting disaster that the Harkonnen operation has been for over 80 years. He's like, the representative that we have in contact there is named Chosa Sen. And you remember this name from before times. Daphne?
The snake lady.
Precisely. The bald woman with the tattoos on her on her head and stuff. Yeah. Well, that was the Harkonnen representative that first greeted you when you arrived on Arrakis before you attended that dinner. So she's sort of like the Harkonnen envoy for Raban, and he's like, according to this message that we received from her, there's something brewing on the far side of the Arrakis that needs addressing, and the Harkonnens are desperate for assistance, looking to every house within reach for aid. It's like we will need to put together a delegation of some sort to attend and see what it is exactly that the governor wants from us.
We shall make sure that the delegation is heavy on spies and soldiers. The fact that Raban wants to collect so many heads of houses in one room gives me pause.
You suspect some sort of a deceit here, Your Grace.
From Raban, I expect it.
He smiles, like, knowingly, like, yeah, you had first-hand experience, of course he would. Of course. Normally I would send Raban, I would send Lysander to accompany you, to guard you, but since he is still recovering at the current moment, we will have to suffice with other retainers, as it were. Just then, somebody sort of stands in the doorway and appears to be peering into the meeting for a moment, and then when they realize that, they're not wanted there or they're not supposed to be there, they kind of like walk off. But you, Norma, with your powers of hyper awareness, and of course you yourself, Daphne, you notice that the person was dressed in all white, and they seem to make contact. They were looking specifically at Norma when they started lurking around the door frame and looking in to see, listening what was going on before they sauntered off.
What is the significance of all white? Is that navigator?
Soup doctor.
Oh, okay.
Did I see who this soup doctor was?
Not from where you were sitting, but yeah, you recognize the movements and everything. Like, they look familiar. You've seen this person before.
And they made eyes at me.
Mm-hmm. Like somebody had brought them to the room, like to say, "Hey, they're in here," and then he scanned the room, saw you, and saw that there was a meeting going on, and he walked off.
How much is left in the meeting? Or is it basically...
This is basically it. This is like, it's just basic news about what's going on in Arrakis and Arrakeen and stuff like that. Raban threw another parade for himself, and things didn't go well. There's some protests in the streets and stuff like that. He had them put down at the end.
Just like last week. Got it.
Just like last week, yeah.
Okay, so then I'll quietly excuse myself.
Sure.
See if they're still there. Soup Doctor still commands some forms of respect.
Yeah. He's standing just down the hallway when you leave, and he's facing away from you. He's kind of looking out over the balcony, he's looking out the window outside, and as you come near, he kind of half turns and looks over at you, and you recognize him immediately from the Sook Doctor you encountered on Ikaz. Wellington Yui.
Dr.
You are Reverend Mother Norma, yes?
I am she.
I have need of your services.
I intentionally add a slight perplexed look to my face and say, what would a Sook Doctor ask of me?
Well, I was happy to assist your sword master in recuperation from the poison that he was exposed to If I may be so bold, I am afraid that I must once again ask for assistance from yourself or from House Cheshire. Before on a cause, your house retainers informed me that my wife Wana had perished under the captivity of the Harkonnens. It pains me enough to be without her, but to be unable to properly bury her remains and pay respects, it has been unbearable. I know this is a lot to ask of you and of them, but as a matter of honor and as a personal favor for me, can you and your compatriots at House Cheshire help in bringing me back my wife? If you personally refuse, I understand. Will not hold it against you. However, if you will not or cannot, please deliver my request to your Duchess.
Sister lost should be a sister found, or, as with all sisters, they all come back to us.
Exactly, precisely. I would like to. She was of your order, and I would like to properly bury her if she is in fact deceased. Even if it means traveling to Arrakis to bury her myself.
Very well. I shall see what I can muster.
Thank you. I can be sought on the Souk School if you need to contact me.
Very well.
You notice that, like, he came here himself. Like, he didn't send someone to, like, request. Like, this is obviously very sensitive information, so he wouldn't ask that of anybody. And with that, he kind of, like, takes his leave. What do you do or say when you get back to the meeting room?
Oh, I don't say anything to anybody yet.
Oh, good. Surprises. All right. So that's what you know. It looks like Raban is looking for calling all sorts of heads of houses that are on Arrakis to Carthag, specifically to the Harkonnen Palace there, to meet with him so that he can talk about what exactly it is that he needs from them and the Harkonnens' endeavors on Arrakis. Is there anybody who you don't want to send Daphne?
No. I mean, William's dead, so.
Right. You've got a Mentat, and you've got a Reverend Mother, perhaps, and you've got yourself, and then anybody else who's part of your retinue. I would imagine you want to leave people like Massam at the residence and so on, but.
Oh yeah,
anybody...
Mossam is definitely staying. Like, I assume Thea is still, like, around?
Sure, she's doing the Bene Gesserit nanny thing.
Yeah.
Doting on him and Belanda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, we'll... Because I do not want Mossam getting anywhere near Raban.
Sure.
That would be bad. But yeah, definitely going to bring Pardo. Bring Norma if Norma wants to come.
Sure.
And then a solid contingent of armed guards, along with a couple infiltrators.
Oh, very good. Okay, I like that. Once the meeting has adjourned.
Oh, and I'm bringing Dr. Sloan as well.
Dr. Sloan. Okay. He's gonna take a little bit of time to get there, but yeah, he can arrive with from the Souk School as soon as you summon for him, so he'll be there within a week or so. Which you mean you have time before you get to Carthag. Is there something that you wanted to do specifically, Norma, after the meeting was adjourned?
No, this is something that I can plan out and take a little bit of time doing.
Okay. Very well. Elois, once you've been accommodated in your room, your handmaiden is just like, and what now?
We see if my niece is to be trusted.
You don't trust any of them?
No. I
Good,
only
neither do I.
We're of one mind, as usual, it seems. I only trusted my sister, and, well, she's dead.
I don't know anything of your mission, love, but how can I assist you?
She'll, like, press her face lovingly. I know how well you keep to the shadows. Observe my niece. See who has her ear the most, who she whispers to. I need every piece of information at my disposal.
You want me to shadow her and stay in the palace?
Yes. For now.
Very well, she says, and she kind of says that in kind of like a sure, okay, kind of. No, they're just like, I don't want to follow these fucking people around, but okay, whatever. If that's what you want, that's what will help you. I'll do it. You know. She sharpens her blade. Excellent. Okay. Archibald.
Yes.
After your meeting with the Thylaxu, Schumann and the others kind of were ushered back in, and they were like, you know, Yeva in particular is like, my husband, I would like to know what it is exactly that you were meeting with the Thylaxu about. As it pertains to House Librius, of course.
Well, it doesn't exactly pertain to House Librius currently.
This is a personal thing?
Yes. See here, what you need.
Caution. This is where you decide whether you want to bring her in on your little plan.
I know. Here's the thing. I don't know if I can trust her either. We
right,
got
this
married
is a political marriage.
because it was a political marriage.
That's right.
So I'm going to say this. Hun, the thing is you don't trust me just as much as I don't trust you right now. We didn't exactly get married for love. I would
don't know
like
about that, she says. We both love positions of power, don't we? We want to hold on to them as much as we can.
That is true, but
Certainly have that in common, don't we?
yeah. But we didn't exactly know each other very long before we did get married. But on the other hand, I would like to know more about you in general. And I'm sure I can coax some secrets out of you.
I'll share my secrets with you if you'll share yours with me. That means, of course, that we will be equal partners in everything that we do.
I put out my hand and I say, deal.
Deal. Oh, something else. Message from you, for you. From Gidi Prime. Would you like me to read it, or would you?
Lovely wife. By all means.
She kind of like, you know, casually takes the message, sits up on a chair, on the grand, you know, very empty dinner hall, and just like, you know, munches on an apple while she's casually reading the summons that has been issued to you specifically of House Librius. What does it say? Where does it say? In the name of the Right Honorable Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, General Archibald Cheshire, vassal for House Cheshire, head of household for House Librius, and champion of the battle for Jabberwock. He and his entourage are cordially invited to the capital city of Barony on Gidi Prime. This is a celebratory gathering and a chance for new opportunities for nascent House Librius to improve its standing within the Landsraad. Your response is eagerly awaited. And that's where we'll stop.
Jesus.
I love it. Oh.
Yes, the Baron Harkonnen has come knocking. Ha 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 ha. Well then, that is all the time that we have for this session. I hope everyone here and those watching enjoyed the show. We'll continue our adventures into the Imperium next Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's reintroduce the cast in the original order. Leo, tell them who you are and where they can find you online and all the good stuff.
Hello, my name is Leo of the Black. You can find me here on Twitch, where I play video games and maybe much more in the future. So, anyways, today I played Archibald for you, and I hope my scheming was enough.
Excellent. Aaron.
Hello, I am Aaron. You can find me as Great Cthulhu pretty much everywhere. You can next find me, I think, Thursday over at my dearest partners channel, Drea_LaFay. We will be playing some Grounded together. That'll gonna be a lot of fun. And then back here for more Dune. Yay!
Excellent. I almost said Norma.
Yeah.
Norma, tell who you are.
I am Norma, but also I am Devin, and you can find me online at Sorta Sullied, and this is Grim.
Aw.
And next time you'll be able to see me will be right here, same place, for more Dune.
Excellent. Ambrose.
Hey everybody, I've enjoyed playing my new characters, Oshir Tamara, for you this evening. You can find me playing again next week. And Southwest Florida strong. Fuck Hurricane Ian. But anyway, you can find me all over the internet as Am Changeling and on Etsy at Thornkind. So see you next time.
Key.
Hello, I'm Kisama. You can try to find me at TrueKisama on Twitter, but I can't guarantee you will. You can also find me right here as Pardo Reed. Glad to be back. And you can find me behind a Denny's near you.
If you were a vampire, I want you to turn me.
Only I was a vampire.
And of course,
Wouldn't be able
Rachel.
to see him.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rachel. You can find me Stolen Fires pretty much everywhere, including Twitter, including this channel, including the Discord that I am posting a link to. It's where it's a nice space for nerds to come hang out. Thank you so much to everyone who is part of the hype train. Thank you for everyone who bought subs for other people. Thank you for everyone who subscribed themselves. Thank you for the followers. We got past 100. Yay! My little channel is doing so well. I'm so happy to have everybody here. So yeah, Twitter is the best place to find out what I'm up to. And when we're not running Dune, I will be playing some Dragon Age here on this channel.
Awesome. All right, I've been Eric at Modern Recluse Online. You can find me back here on Friday night for more Dune at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very special thanks and personal thanks to Rachel for graciously allowed us to use her channel to stream our game. And a big thanks as always to our viewers and fans as well for tuning in. As always, bless the Maker and his water. Bless the coming and going of him. May his passage cleanse the world. May he keep the world for his people. Good night, everybody.